What's going on, everyone? This is Kevin here, coming at you with Motorola Moto G Stylus 2022 camera tips and tricks. So if you're looking to get the most out of the various cameras on the Moto G Stylus 2022, then you've come to the right video. So let's get started. Now the first thing I want to do is go over a summary of the various cameras that we are getting here on the phone. So we have a 16 megapixel front-facing camera, and then on the back of the device, we have a triple camera setup giving us a 50 megapixel main camera, a 2 megapixel depth sensing camera that assists with portrait mode, and we have an 8 megapixel ultra wide angle camera that can take images at up to 118 degrees. Now what's interesting about this device is that the ultra wide angle camera also doubles as the macro camera. So you can use this device to take very close up images with the macro camera, but unlike last year's Moto G Stylus 2021, the macro camera is not its own dedicated camera. So when it comes to the actual experience of using the phone, it really doesn't make a difference either way, but I just wanted to point that out in case there's any potential confusion. Now moving on, I want to show you some different ways to customize the resolution and aspect ratio of the various images that you do end up capturing with the cameras on this device. So you're going to go to the camera app, of course, and then you can see we're in photo mode right now. If you go to the gear in the upper right corner, we have some different customizations. So go under photos and you'll see right here that we have some resolution options. So with the rear camera, you can actually adjust the resolution from the default of 12.5 megapixels down to 8 megapixels. Now that might seem a little bit confusing since the phone technically has a 50 megapixel camera, but with the way it works, essentially it creates quad pixels, which ends up giving you 12.5 megapixel photos. Now, if you want to save storage on your device, maybe you've been taking a bunch of different photos and you've noticed that they're taking up a ton of space on the phone, then you can always switch down to 8 megapixels, and it's really not going to take away too much of the quality of the image, but at the same time, it will save a decent amount of space on your device. And then for the front-facing camera, it's similar but different at the same time. So the default here is actually the option that will save you more space, giving you 4 megapixel images. But if you want to, you can switch it over to the full 16 megapixels. Now there's some additional customizations as well. So when you're in this screen, where you can actually see through the viewfinder, you'll see this little arrow. If you tap on that arrow, it pulls up a menu here where you can toggle the flash. So you can have flash off, flash on, or flash on auto. You can change the timer from being off to 3 or 10 seconds. You can also take active photos, which is kind of similar to the iPhone's live photos. Or if you want to, you can also change the aspect ratio. So oftentimes, if I'm taking a picture with a device that's meant to be used as a thumbnail, for example, for a video, I'll switch over to 16:9 instead of 3:4 to take that image, because that's the aspect ratio of a thumbnail on most video platforms. But if you want to take a photo that's even wider, you can actually even go to the other setting here on the right. This is for the entire full length of the display, so you can definitely take a very wide immersive photo. Now with video, it's a similar situation. You can go to that same arrow, and then from there, you can adjust the aspect ratio between 9:16 or 16:9 based on if it's a vertical or horizontal video, and then you can go over to the entire full aspect ratio as well. Another cool thing too is that you can turn the mic on or off. Not sure why you'd want to take videos with muted audio, but if you do want to, then you can do that too. And then another awesome thing as well is that you can enable the torch, which is the flashlight on the back of the phone, and you can actually take videos with the flashlight on. So if you are recording a video in a darker environment, then I can definitely see how that could come in handy here. And then for the front-facing camera, it's essentially the same options. You can also enable the torch. So in this situation, it's just gonna make the screen really bright to try to brighten you up for the front-facing video or photo. You can also then do full frame as well. We also have another option here, and this is probably something that I could use a bit, and that is beauty mode. So it's off right now, but if you want to, it will give you an overlay. You can do manual or auto as well. So kind of interesting there. And then going over to photos for the front-facing camera, you can see here are the various options. So essentially all the same options, except we have a timer, and then also the aspect ratio can be 3:4. Now the next thing I want to show you are a variety of different capture settings. So to get to these capture settings, you're going to go to the gear in the upper right corner on the camera app. Then from here, you'll see right there, capture settings, go to this drop down. Now the first thing here is quick capture. So with quick capture, if you twist your wrist twice quickly, it'll open up to the rear camera. So you can see it pulls up the camera just like that. You can be anywhere throughout the operating system and it'll do this. So that's definitely very convenient. The next one we have here is called tap anywhere to capture. So capture by tapping anywhere on the screen. So that's now enabled, and anywhere I tap on the viewfinder will make the device take an image, which is pretty cool. We can do the same thing for the front-facing camera as well. So there we go, I just took a picture, just took another one, pretty nice. Now going back to that same menu, you probably noticed that every time I would take a picture, or also when I take a video, the shutter is gonna make a sound. Now, I personally don't need that. That doesn't really help me at all when using the camera. And in certain situations, I can see it being annoying as well. So if you turn off the shutter sound, you can now just take a picture and it won't make a sound anymore. The next one that I want to show you is called Assistive Grid. So if you like to take photos using the rule of thirds, which you probably learned about in some sort of art class at some point in school, I know that I did. But with the rule of thirds, you can better line up an image as you'd wish. So it's nice having that grid there in certain situations. So if you do want grid lines, that's how you get them. Also in the same menu, we have an option called the leveler. So if you want to take photos and videos that are level, you can see here that the phone does have its own built-in level. So right now, for example, you can see that it's clearly not level, but if I move the phone a little bit, the line then turns to yellow, indicating that the image is indeed level. And then finally, the last option here is called keep last mode. So if you're making all these different changes, you can actually enable this, and then if you go back, all those various settings will continue to be here within the camera app, which can definitely be helpful and save you some time. Now at the top of the menu, we have an option called AI settings. Now there's some really cool stuff in here, so let's take a look. So the first thing is auto smile capture. So the phone will automatically capture an image when everyone in the frame is smiling. So let's try that out right now. There we go, it just took the image and I was smiling. We have another option here called gesture selfie. So if you show your palm, the phone will take a selfie. We'll try that out. Somehow it's kind of difficult to do when recording a video. There we go, just took the selfie because I raised my palm. Now this might be pretty self-explanatory, but I still want to point it out in the video in case you don't know. But you can see that if the phone is at 1x, that's for the standard camera. Then 0.5 takes you over to the ultra wide angle camera. And then this picture right here of this plant takes you over to the macro camera. And again, with the macro camera, you can get very close up here and it will make things nice and clear and in good quality. So that's essentially how you access those various features. Then you can go to the menu in the bottom right corner here to access the other modes. So if you want to go to portrait mode, you can do that as well through here. You can adjust the level of blur as well, which is pretty nice. So you do get that customization. You can also flip around to the front-facing camera and get portrait mode too. Another thing too, when you go over to the menu, we have some other options including cutout, spot color, night vision, cinematograph, panorama, group selfie. There also is, I forgot to mention this earlier, a dedicated 50 megapixel ultra res. So if we go here, it actually will take the images of the full 50 megapixels. So essentially that quad pixel setup that takes images at 12.5 megapixels is really the default that I think Motorola would prefer you to go with. But if you do want to capture images at that full 50 megapixels, then you can do it here with the phone. And you can see that with that level of quality, you can zoom in extremely far and still have a lot of detail be retained. So it is pretty awesome, but I probably wouldn't do the ultra res for every picture that you take. And that's probably why you really can't set it as a default on here, because it will fill up the storage on your phone extremely quickly. And we do have dual capture here that will let you take photos with the front and rear cameras at the same time. So in general, there's a lot of different awesome abilities and customizations you can make when it comes to taking photos and videos with the Motorola Moto G Stylus 2022. But I hope you enjoyed these various camera tips and tricks for the phone. Let me know what you think overall about the device, and I will see you in the next video. Take care and have a great rest of your day.